That's a good spot to start right here.
Yeah,
3 years, huh?
3 years
I don't know what the hell. I can't tell you three things we talked about.
in 3 years.
It's been a shot.
It has been an interesting ride. Before we get into all the interestingness of the last 3 years, probably got to give them the things that we give them every time, right?
Guess we could do that
Yeah,
again, just in case
just in
no
case.
one knows how to find us. You can always find us on ittasteslikeburningcast@gmail.com. You can shoot us emails, questions, concerns, comments, issues, statements, theories, conjectures, or quite frankly, anything else. We'd appreciate hearing from any and all. You can always find us on the Patreon at It Tastes Like Burning Cast and toss a little support there. And in the links of the YouTube video where you can find It Tastes Like Burning, you can find our merch. Yeah. Top notch. We weren't planning on doing video or we'd be wearing our shirts.
Right.
So, 3 years.
3 years. So we started this thing, and randomly, our first episode dropped on my daughter's birthday 3 years ago, on the 26th of March.
Okay.
So when this comes out, it'll be on the 27th. So this is an anniversary episode. We've had a couple of them before, and we kind of talked about just what the podcast is, what we've done, where we're going, what we want to do. One of the big things for us was getting the video back going. It was important to we ride in this audio only world, and it only goes so far, right?
Well, the problem is that firefighters need pictures.
Right, and with crayons. So we do also need to promote that this glass holds liquid, right?
Yes. That's where all of our deep thoughts come
It's
from.
an important part of being a glass. That's going to slide off. We'll set that there. We'll recork. Tonight we have Jameson Black Barrel, which is a moderately priced Irish whiskey. It's really good. And then we've got the 12-year Whistle Pig in celebration of the birthday here. This is not a moderately priced
No,
rye
no.
whiskey.
But it is very good.
It is very good.
And it is our best assumption of trying to take place and make honor of the pig.
Yeah.
So,
Texas's most apex predator.
also tasty. So, in the last 3 years, as we bounce into the fourth, what do we have? I don't know. In the crock pot.
In the crock pot. So Matt and I are making a commitment to try to do better with the video stuff, but tonight is this episode is going to be the start of us doing better with video. We like the audio because
Those are bold.
those
Both
are
words.
bold words, Cotton. But we do better with the audio because the audio takes less work.
Right.
Right? We can sit down on an audio only podcast, record it straight out, chop the ends off of it where we've gotten ready and we've gotten done, and with basically no editing, boom, there's an episode, right?
Right.
Write a title, which is also one of those things you never think about when you're starting to do stuff like this. It's like titles are hard. If it's episode 1, season 1, titles are pretty easy, right? But if you want a pithy title, it takes a little effort to come up with that every week. And sometimes we do a good job with it, and sometimes we don't, and sometimes it's just like bleh, word soup.
Our biggest challenge is just time. We've gotten very good at being able to just sit down and throw something together. And I do mean unequivocally unscripted, sit down and throw something together. It took us 2 weeks to make this
to set all this up to make a video. Right? We've worked on this since before noon today.
Yeah. Last weekend.
Before noon today. And here it is, dark 30.
Right.
And we're finally got it where we think it worked, and we think you'll get to see this. but we know you can hear it, right? We know we've got the audio. We didn't do anything different than we normally do with audio, so
Right.
we've always got the audio, and it's on a separate recording. But the video for us it's a challenge because we're a two-man show. We don't we can bring in somebody to run this stuff for us, but it takes coordination to get that third person here. That's the
Right.
big part, right? Because we don't ever know. We typically we do these on Sunday evenings or Sunday afternoons,
But sometimes Saturdays
and sometimes Tuesday.
or Wednesday morning.
Yeah,
So
because it's when we get the time
yeah.
to sit down and do it. And we started out real good. We had like 10 episodes pre-made when we started this. I don't know if you remember those days because those days are long gone.
Yeah, well, but also
We did a weekly download, a weekly upload for the first like 2 months.
there's a part of it where you're being bright-eyed and bushy-tailed too, though.
Right.
And then the problem with doing a weekly episode like that is content,
Yeah. How do you
subject
come up
material.
with subject matter? We struggle sometimes with that. I mean, there's more times than not we're like, what the hell do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
And we I don't know. We always come up with something, right?
Oh,
And it's usually relevant to the things that are happening in our lives or the department or
local. Yeah.
local. We ventured off the path on a few things here and there, and some of it was good and some of it was bad. Uh,
Well, even Joe Rogan can't knock it out of the park every time.
yeah, well, but most of the time,
Most of the time.
it's usually only when he has his buddies on that I'm like, oh my god, this again.
Yeah, it's one of those things where trying to make the podcast relevant, remotely informational, beneficial, and God forbid if you try and interject humor. And I mean, I know the two of us can make each other piss ourselves laughing, but
Yeah,
I don't mean anyone else appreciates it.
my sense of humor is deep and dark.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine's about the color of the shirt.
Yeah, deep and dark. And,
I No one has any clue at how much I actually filter myself for this.
yeah.
But
No, I do.
it's 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 a miracle that
I think I dropped like 3 F-bombs in the last episode.
I I deserve a gold medal for the fact that I don't think I have ever said that. And and my vernacular thoroughly involves the use of that word,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
constant and regularly.
Yeah. My as does mine, but I don't know. That last episode I got a little passionate about a few things and let it fly a little bit, but that's all right.
Thoughts have feelings too.
Yeah. Yeah. And words, Roxanne. I'm afraid of words.
Yeah. So this coming year, we have another just department wise pretty bang out year coming. But for the podcast, we are ever slowly growing.
Yeah.
How many, kind of put you on the spot and you maybe didn't even look at it? How many downloads are we averaging now?
So we can't go by this last week.
Okay. Is it slow or high?
Yesterday we had 91.
Okay. Well, I remember
The
when
day
we were
before that
excited
we had
about 20.
about 20, and the day before that we had 85.
Okay. Well, at least we're over 100.
So this week it's been 300-ish, which is high. That's a lot. I think part of it is people accessed us through a new outlet. So anytime somebody goes to a new podcast player that we haven't been on before and requests us to be on there, it immediately downloads all the episodes. So I think that may have happened a couple times this last week.
Yeah, but we have more than 91 episodes.
No, we're in the 80s.
Are we?
Yeah, we're in the 80s. But we had 3 days this last week over 80 downloads.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
The metrics
The
are so
metrics
hard.
on podcasts are so hard to figure out. Like if you're one of those podcasts that's just solely on Spotify, and that's it. Like we upload to Spotify, we live on Spotify. That's where we are. Pretty easy, right? Or you're only on YouTube, and it's just YouTube, and that's where you look at your data. Well, we're not. We're everywhere,
Right.
and the only place we don't see like just steady growth is the YouTube, and it's because we migrated there because we were on the Google Podcast Player. And so Google did away with the podcast player. And when they did that, they said, no problem, we'll just shovel you guys over to YouTube. Well, on Google Podcast, we were active enough that we were getting put into people's feed. Well, on YouTube, we don't get that. We're so small in the YouTube scale
Right.
that if somebody's Google's fire department podcast on YouTube, there's no chance we're showing up. But in Google Podcasts, we were first page because there was only a handful of podcasts, which not anymore. In the last 3 years, that number's grown substantially. There's a ton of fire podcasts, and I don't know. There's some big ones.
Oh yeah. Chief Lasky runs a big one.
Fire engineering has a big one.
Yeah. God almighty, I'm trying to. So oddly enough, I don't actually listen to a lot of podcasts.
I listen to some.
There's, gosh dang it, shame on me. There's a real big one on the East Coast. Uh, that's good. The handful of times I've listened to.
Yeah, that's the one with a bunch of retired New York guys.
Right.
War stories.
Right.
I don't remember the name of it. It's pretty good. I've listened to that. There's a lady in the Midwest that has like a firewife firefighter, female firefighter kind of. It's called Couplings. It's not bad. I've listened to it. Pretty good sized Canadian volunteer one. That's pretty good. I've listened to it. Uh, what is that one called? Down to Fight Fire, I think.
Kanakistan.
Kanakistan. It's not bad. I've listened to it. Of course, I've listened to Chief Lasky. I bounced into the fire engineering and the firehouse and all those big guys. You know, those magazines. They all have podcasts. BFIS has a podcast.
SFFMA.
SFFMA has a podcast of which I've been on as a guest.
Right.
Uh, you know, uh, a lot of your manufacturers. Pierce has a podcast.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Pierce has a podcast. It's not if you're wanting to know more about the fire trucks and the fire truck industry, great podcast. If you're wanting anything beyond fire trucks and fire truck industry, probably not your podcast. Like it's not. It's a bunch of industry people talking about fire truck stuff. They talk about the blue floor. They talk about how trucks are made, the process of building a fire truck, how uh, trucks are specced out. They talk about a lot of stuff like that. If you're in the position where you're looking to buy a fire truck, I would tell you to go check that out because there's a lot of information there.
Good info there. Yeah, I mean, for us this year, we have one particularly large collaboration.
And we suck at collaboration.
Yeah.
We literally do.
But that's part of the video. That's why we're doing this.
That's why we're doing this. I mean,
we've had make it better.
We've had everybody from, and this is going to be where we tell how bad we really are. We've had Joy Bonanno, who's the firehouse chef from New York City, in New York City fireman, fitness and health and nutrition expert, wanted to be on the show. We've had Kyle Samsing, the firefighting mind, the pragmatic firefighter guy that does all the mental coaching stuff, wanted to be on the show. We've had there was another one. There was one that you had from down in the Houston area that
Oh, God, he's a chief at Pearland or Sugarland.
yeah,
Jake Jacobson, do your damn job.
yeah,
That chief.
yeah,
He still wants to do it.
yeah. So we have all these people that want to do it, and we just don't make it happen. It squarely falls on Matt and I for not.
Well, again, it's just time. I mean, God almighty, time.
Lasky's probably. I mean, haven't specifically talked to him about it, but I've mentioned it, and he's interested in doing it with.
Yeah,
And
I know. Okay, so I know Chief Lasky, but he's not like a best friend
he's
or
not
anything.
in your contact list, right?
No,
He's in jeans.
he's definitely in jeans.
Yeah,
I have his contact, and he has mine.
yeah.
Uh,
And he loves our town, and he loves our department,
right.
and he is so over the moon about this place, and would do it at a drop of the hat. Would just have a good time.
Yeah, yeah, he'd be awesome. But yeah, we suck. Everyone else is awesome. We suck.
We suck.
Sorry, we suck. Uh, our scheduling's terrible. Our schedules are terrible, and we're legitimately very busy.
Yeah.
And it just the
And,
time
and
isn't
short of
there.
and short of a Matt and Jesse herder,
Hmm.
which is basically what we need, right? We need a producer
Yeah,
to herd us around and tell us that on this day at this time we're doing this thing with these people, right? Because that's kind of how the rest of our world works, right?
ideally,
I mean,
yeah.
I have my person that tells me be here at this time and do this with these people, and you have that to an extent, and then we have our lady at the department that keeps us on track and tells us when we're supposed to be places. Uh, but we don't have that for this. So, and my lady that tells me where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be, trust me, she needs no more workload.
Hmm.
Uh, so short of an assistant, personal assistant, Aiden,
Who the hell's a?
the guy that leaves his tool bag at the shop, when
Oh, oh yeah, that goofball.
he could be the wrangler.
No,
No, no,
no,
no. My bicycle garage moment there, right there for a minute.
no. He's he's having a hard enough time keeping up with his own tools,
Yes, yes,
figuratively and literally.
yeah,
But yeah, there's some big collaborations that we have coming that we really, really want to do. Uh, it'd be a huge step for us, and the collaborator would be kind of a good step for them too.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
it opens up a lot of doors for everybody. It's a good thing, and that's the whole point of collaboration. And this is a social media business. It's a non for profit business, or makes no profit business maybe, that we have going here with this poor little podcast, but it's nonetheless a business, right?
right.
And and the way this stuff works is you share the interactions and you share audience because you're not competing for audience. This isn't
No,
ABC, NBC, right?
no.
Right. None of us are putting out enough content that somebody could fill every evening of every week watching our content from
God,
five
I hope not.
from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. and going to bed. It doesn't work like that. It's an interesting. It's one of the most interesting things that's come out of the internet age to me. You know when the last time a TV has been on in my house? Me either. Like, we don't watch TV. We
I ha-
watch YouTube, or
yeah.
we watch this, or
I haven't watched TV since probably 2008.
Right.
The last movie that I saw in the theater probably close to 10 or 12 years ago. Like, now I'm kind of weird. I still read. So I read. I consume a massive amount of YouTube.
Yeah.
Massive amount of YouTube. Uh, Audiobooks. And that's about the source of
Yeah. And where you're
my
probably
entertainment.
consuming the audiobook, I'm consuming podcast. I do a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I drive a lot. I probably drive. mm, Let's just be conservative and call it 1,000 miles.
Okay.
That's when I spend my time listening to podcasts because you can listen to music, and even if you're on Spotify or Pandora or one of those things, you're going to listen to the same 10 songs over and over and over and over. If you play the radio station, you're going to listen to the same 10 songs over and over and over. I've gotten on a kick here lately. I used to listen to a lot of like Jimmy Duress stuff and some of those guys, like the Fix All podcast. I listened to that one a long time. I listened to oh gosh, a handful of others in that space and that kind of maker into that stuff. I used to be way more into it, uh, but time has steered me away from that. Uh, so now I listen to a lot of Rogan. I listen to some fire podcasts if somebody turns me on to a particular episode of one that I want to listen to. Uh, I listen to. I like Mike Rowe, his
Yeah.
podcast,
He's fantastic.
absolutely fantastic podcast, and it's the anti of the other ones that you're listening to because it's the storytelling.
I used to consume a gigantic amount of, let's just call it, news and politics
Yeah,
for years and years and years and years. And then really about 6, 8 years ago, I kind of had I was topped off on that.
kind of
Like,
get all of that you want. I like to get my politics directly from memes on
mm,
X.
uh, the dumpster fire of the world, Reddit,
Yeah,
the memes on Reddit are still top notch.
yeah.
Uh, Zoomers are starting to take over the meme world now, and I'm not smart enough to understand
Understand
it.
some of them. Yeah,
So that has a particular impact on my fulfillment of enjoyment of enjoying memes on the internet
yeah.
from Reddit. But yeah, I been a little bit on a little more of a political kick. Uh, Particularly after the start of the Ukraine war. Always thought I liked politics. I actually didn't. What I liked geopolitics, the whole big picture thing. How do all the puzzle pieces actually do?
They don't.
You'd be surprised sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
But we sure as hell are not going to talk about any of that. Uh, but yeah, our big collaborations coming up. If we're able to pull it together, we have a big YouTube content creator. Big for us. Like,
He's big. I mean,
yeah,
he's in the realm of people watching, right?
right. And then we have a couple of possibly manufacturers interested, possibly uh dealer vendors interested,
Yeah.
and yeah,
That's one
maybe
of the
maybe even a city.
things that video opens some doors for some different things, right? Sponsorship in the audio only world is fairly limited, and it not not to get you wrong. There's a lot of people doing ad reads. There's a lot of that stuff, but these are people that are on the million downloads
Right.
side of things, right? We're not on that side of things. Although we do look at some statistics. There's a thing that rates podcasts globally. We hang in the top 10% globally, which is 300,000 to 400,000 podcasts. It's not a small number, right?
Still staggering.
Yeah. Of the 3 or 4 million that are out there, we're in the 10 percentile. We've passed a lot of the common brick walls that a lot of podcasts get hung on. Uh, I read in an article that most podcasts don't make it past 10 episodes. We've far exceeded that, and that's just the drive to keep doing it, right?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, it still boils down to what caused us to start this and why we'll realistically continue to do it in the foreseeable future.
Right.
Because we were sitting at a table chattering, and basically we were having a really good discussion, and it boiled down to there are probably other people that want to hear this. So we started a podcast, and we weren't wrong.
No.
We just weren't. And one thing that I've noticed, and I think I can't speak for all states, but I can speak for Texas. We hammer training, we talk about training. Technically, we're centered around training, even though we don't hammer it a ton. But every single department that I'm stumbling into right now, they want training, they're hungry for training, and they're seeking training.
And I think part of that is just there was this big gap that happened around 2020, right, where everybody lost access to outside training,
Well,
and
and the damage was done.
it took years. We're just now getting to the point where people are getting past that, and it's now to the point where they're like, damn it, why are we not doing the things we
Yeah.
were doing 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
It goes to another conversation. I've been having this a lot. I've been meeting with a lot of different chiefs recently, and it it's funny at how many departments are facing the training challenge. Their membership wants training.
Right.
And you know who it is that wants the training? It's the younger group.
Right. And the old
Because,
guys are tired.
right,
I see this a lot. They don't want to give the time to training. Couple different reasons, right? One, they don't want to keep training on the things they've trained on for the last 20 years. They're interested in new training, but they don't know how to separate
right.
the fact that now they're the teacher, they're not the consumer. And I think that's a challenge for a lot of folks, because a lot of the in the past 5 years, a lot of departments lost a lot of their longtime members.
Yeah. Wow. We were eviscerated by it last 5 years.
Yeah. And through that process of losing a lot of those old guys, and then the influx of the new guys, because we're seeing it. It's not a geographically centered to our area thing. I see it all over when I talk to departments all
Yeah.
over the state. Memberships are up, recruiting's up,
Yeah.
things are happening, and they don't know how to deal with the fact that they've got this influx of new people that don't know anything.
Yeah. And I
Because
mean,
when you had one new guy every 6 months, it was pretty easy to tell that guy, hey, just sit over there and watch for a while. We'll get you involved as time goes on, right? But when you got 5 of them, or 6 of them, or 10 of them in that same 6 month period, now you got a problem, because you got too many idle hands, and they want to do something, and they're going to go find knowledge wherever they can find it, right, wrong, or indifferent.
right. And the, and it gets compounded from there. Okay. Because the, I would argue The millennials, we're useless. Uh, but Gen Z, they're going to be the savior of the VFDs out there.
Yeah. No, it's
They are.
so weird.
They're they're going to be the saviors of it, and they're I I think I'm barely able to start getting a grasp
I'm gonna
on them.
I'm gonna tell you, and this is a Gen Xer thing, right? The Gen Xers that came into the volunteer fire service didn't do it for community improvement or any of those reasons. We straight up did it for self motivation and adrenaline and oh look at there, commercial fire. Anyway, we did it for self reasons. It was
Right.
selfish, very selfish, right? It was to have one up on the general public. It was to be more of a badass in our own minds, right? These young guys, that's not why they're here. They're here for the pure reasons that we said we were here
Yeah.
for when we got brought onto the
It's
department.
because they care.
They care. And it's weird.
Yeah. It is, and I mean, I had this weird, really cool exchange with the fire chief the other day. And I disagree with him on this. I do. Understand why he's doing this, but I disagree with him. Small rural community, okay? And he gets new people that move into the community and he doesn't allow them on the department. Okay? And his reason behind it is he wants them to be a little more established in the community and make sure that they're going to stay. Well,
That's why you get them in the department.
my argument, and I've experienced this, is the organization is the reason they stay.
Yes.
And
And it's how they intertwine into the community.
right. And it was like, ooh, I get it. I really get it. But it's a really old school way.
But it gets back to my statement that I make a lot. I'm not when we're looking for members and recruits, I'm not looking for people like me. I'm looking for people that are not like me.
Just so you can secure your power and position on the department forever.
No, it's because I think there needs to be different points of view and different. I'm not opposed to different points of view.
Novel concept.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to that. I can profess that I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. But the reality is that most of the good ideas you steal.
Yeah. Sure as hell don't come up with them.
Now there may be some. It may be the start of an idea that you get from somebody, but that start of an idea can grow into something real, right?
Been a lot here. We've had a lot of that. Yeah, I don't I don't think Granbury's a template. I don't think we're, you know, connect the dots color
No,
by number.
no, no, no.
But I do think
I do think that 99% of the things we've done are transferable to anywhere.
well, and we've seen that too. And we're not talking about radical ideas.
No,
We're talking about formalizing training. Just giving people training. That's it.
pretty simple, right?
At the end of the day, that's the core of the message. And on top of that,
Having goals,
goals.
plans,
Hmm.
setting a strategic plan for short term, long term, medium term, right? And then measuring those plans against what we don't know, right? Against not doing it, against what we think it would have been if we wouldn't have done it,
Right.
we don't know. You don't know. Some of the things we did that we saw as great successes may have actually been worse for us than what we think. But it was a good enough success that we'd probably do it again.
Well, but our the only thing that radical that we do here is we try different crap.
We do. We
That
don't put ourselves in that box of this is what we've always
right.
done.
The other thing that I'll say is we we don't have a problem trying something new, adopting someone else's idea. And if it works, change it.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, bailing. Like it's not the course is set. You just grab the wheel and you adjust it.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. And the fact of the matter is the organization and the membership quite honestly take that in full stride. And I mean, don't get me wrong, if it's not working, they tell us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all laugh about it and be like, oh, yeah, God, that's a terrible idea. We're never doing that again.
Some of the and it for us a lot of it goes back to recruiting and marketing and some of those things that we've done in that aspect that were pretty far out of the box, right? For a volunteer, well, for any department, right? And for me, a triggering point was when I watched Fort Worth PD's recruiting video back 5 or 6 years
I
ago.
remember which one you're talking about. Yeah.
And it was like, Jesus, if they can do something like this, why are we not doing that? Like,
Right.
this is a Fort Worth Police Department making a funny video to recruit people.
Yeah. Now that, ooh, ooh, you talk about something that we, I don't want to say battle with the city, but man, we battle with the city on. God forbid you have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everything is all eins, fight, eins, fight, eins, fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, 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 no. No one on our organization's like that.
No.
No one. Like, we really need to not be that. Like, that is not who we are.
Right.
We literally are much more of a character of like Yosemite Sam. I mean,
Wabbit season.
yeah, we we're going forward shooting our guns, but yeah, like there is a certain part. Well, certain. There's a big part of this where it is a blind leap.
Yeah.
You just have to do it. And all I can say is that we've, at the bare minimum, made it on base a lot more than we've ever struck out.
So I think part of that is that cities, specifically cities, because they're the world's worst about this stuff. They go to every training in the world about liability and how every city in the world's ever been sued about anything that ever come up, right? And our city's victim to that. They get sued for really stupid stuff that costs millions and millions of dollars for no reason,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, or at the bare minimum, tens of thousands of dollars in just legal.
Right. For something that's so asinine and stupid, and they just put every effort into mitigating that. And I don't know that all the effort in the world ever mitigates any of it.
No,
No.
no.
Because number one, there's people, and people are people, and they're gonna do people stuff. And then your employees or your members or whatever you've got, they happen to be people too. They're going to screw some stuff up here and there. It's not a there's no way to mitigate your way out of all this stuff. And that's a fault of government in general, to think that you can build this organization that's so impervious to fault. There's fault in all of it. I'm more on the air of the side of the Windy or Southwest Airlines.
Yeah.
Where it's just be real. People come at you. Let them know you're real. Make fun of them and move on.
It's needed desperately. Yeah, I think there's a part there where you're being so conservative that you're forgetting the single most basic element, particularly with us. The organization is made up of the citizenry.
Mm-hmm. And we serve the citizenry.
Right. And we have characters, personalities, dispositions, and there's nothing wrong with expressing that. Now, let's put that into reality too. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, there's things you just shouldn't and can't do, right?
We are a legitimate organization. Okay.
But so is Southwest and Windy.
Sure. But they also don't intentionally attack people. And I'll be
No.
extremely on the aggressive side here. They don't physically go after someone off of something that's absurd, like race.
No.
Okay. They're taking a stupid comment and they're reacting stupidly to the comment.
Right.
Okay. I would argue it's like
power flickered
off the battery. Or either we're having a seizure. So, and we had it together. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. You can easily and very inappropriately. I bet you that old light's about to die.
Is it just that light, or is it everything?
No, it's that light.
Well, if it gets dark, the light died.
I bet you that's what that is. Anyways.
Yep.
No. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Tell you what.
I'm gonna reach over there and turn it off. I think we live without it fine. But at least we don't have to deal with the flash photography.
Tourette's inducing.
Yeah. No flash photography, please.
Yeah.
It scares the animals.
Paparazzi. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just we need to come back to reality on that. There's nothing wrong with handling a very misinformed critique of the organization. I personally like handling that in person when I get the opportunity. But also I'm really hard to argue with about the organization. Because I can tell you the definitive value of the organization.
We've given that elevator speech
3 years.
100 million times, right? And given it to people that are like way more in tune and knowledgeable than.
Right. Well, my elevator speech goes to career chiefs at big organizations.
Right.
And they're like,
not
oh
Suki
yeah,
homemaker.
Yeah. They're like, nope. Whatever that is, keep doing that. And we're realistic about it.
Yeah.
Is it a forever solution? No. Quite honestly, Rome ended.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that you can do to prolong that.
Sure.
Right? There's a lot of organizational things you can do. There's a lot of things you can do in the operational side of things and just hedge your bet, right? And I think we're to the hedge your bet stage of of working on things, right? We want to ensure that we're putting processes in place for just how the organization functions. We need to make sure that we're creating safety net for finances and fiduciary stuff and
But also protecting the city.
right.
And I'm not talking about protecting the city from the sense of uh,
Fire
literally the
protection.
services we provide protection.
No.
I'm talking about protecting the city's investment in us, in the equipment, in the tools, in the apparatus. Um,
Well, let's just go down that rabbit hole. It's not. I don't see it as prevalent as it was 3 years.
what?
But that when are we going paid? When are you guys
Oh,
going paid?
yeah, no,
That question. You
no,
guys needs to be a paid department. This city's too big for
yeah,
you to be a
no,
volunteer department.
no. I would argue that our efforts on that front have been staggeringly monumental positive. The
It,
whole ISO2 thing kind of puts a bullet in that.
it does put a bullet in a bunch of it, but it doesn't in 100% of it. But there's fanatics and everything, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's fanatics out there that think that we need to liberate all the polar bears
There's people
into
that think the earth is flat,
right.
like
That's
much less
solid
talking
point.
about
You want it,
taxation
yeah.
and fire service. So like
We need to liberate the wolves back into their native habitat.
mm, yeah.
Midland.
Yeah, no, there's a certain point there where I would tell anyone to ignore the fringe.
Right. Well, and you've kind of got to ignore the fringe in everything, not just local politics or any of that, but you've got to ignore the fringe in anything. No, I'm actually pretty good. Uh, the fringe is what gets you in trouble, right?
Yeah, let's go down that. I'm gonna go down another rabbit hole in your rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So I had this great idea years ago where I would invite people,
Detractors.
detractors, on Facebook that I'd found at the station and talk to them. Uh, whew. Once they were inside the building, I realized that we needed to install emergency panic alarms at the station.
Yeah, because they were so fanatical, right?
They were crazy.
Yeah.
They were legitimately crazy. And it's like, oh no, I I'm in danger. They're literally dangerous, like the way they're thinking and the way they're arguing. We it's kind of weird. We ended up having a pretty decent discussion. But it was like, wow, I I can't argue with this or make points because yeah, you're committed.
Yeah.
You're committed to this.
Well, it's so weird too because you see two sides of this thing, right? I see a lot of, and it's you know it your great aunt or your grandmother's friend or somebody of that kind of you know your mom's age kind of person that and it's usually females, it's usually women that say you guys should be paid, and it's like, well, ma'am, we she we get a retirement. We're doing all right. What we're doing, we can't we don't want to be paid. Well, y'all do such a wonderful job. They should pay you for doing the wonderful job you do.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay, that's a whole nother like I can see you having that thought and wanting to have one
And I
with
would legitimately argue 75%
or that.
are that. The other 25%, ah, I'm going to go
Uh,
24% are
or the
people.
unions. Union-driven mouthpieces.
That, and they just don't know the level of service they're getting.
No, they assume you're
Right.
out in the middle of nowhere.
They automatically assume that because you're volunteer, that you're
Substandard.
substandard. And what they don't get is all the minutia, all the fine points, all the little details. And then at the end of the day, our 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 absolute golden BB in this, the Achilles heel of everyone on this, is this equation. The level of service that we're providing, the amount of people, response times, level of training, versus trying to replace that with compensated staff.
Compensated, yeah, career, whatever you want to look at it. I have a really different thought process on some of this, and I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole to go down your rabbit hole, right? So we achieved the ISO 2, right? Phenomenal, right? Even with a 3-to-1 penalty.
Right.
Right? We paid a 3-person to 1 penalty because it says volunteer on the door. Our staffing number gets divided by 3.
Right.
So the reality of what we provide is X, but we get to count M.
Yeah. 0.1.
So if it were apples to pears, or maybe even apples to apples, we'd have blown the 1 out of the water, right?
Right.
It's the penalty that cost us the 1.
The other part of it is the departments near us, our automatic and mutual aid, they're not recognized
not
by
recognized.
ISO, so we don't get to count them.
Right.
And it's like, here's the call sheets, here's their response for the last 3 years. Not 10 calls, 3 years. Because whether anyone likes this or not, last month we had 25 structure fires.
Right.
Okay?
And how many of them are still burning now?
None. Zero. But we don't get to count that.
Right.
Because we're volunteers. Oh, yeah. No, it's infuriating. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate ISO and I appreciate all ISO's work and I appreciate our local rep. That man's done a lot for us.
Excellent.
He's also going to be speaking at the state convention this year. I highly recommend you go to his class.
We'll get to give him his hubcap at that point.
I hope to give it to him before then. But maybe
we'll give him a second one then. How about that?
I like that. We'll do that. But
we'll go sit in his class and give him a hubcap.
See, that's what I was thinking. We start the class by interrupting him.
Yeah.
Very beginning of the class. Step up there, steal his thunder for half a second.
Yeah.
And give him a hubcap.
Yep. Not a bad.
He'd appreciate that too.
He would love that.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think ISO is a great thing to build the department off of.
Right. And
that's it.
And the reality is you shouldn't, that should be the last step, right?
Oh yeah. No.
You can't start there.
You got a lot of other crap that you need to pull together.
I want to encourage people to not think that you're building to an ISO 2 starting out with a dirt floor station and a brush truck, right? You can't get there, right?
But I will tell you this.
But
you can get an ISO rating, which is a benefit to your community. To go from a 10 to anything is fantastic.
Also, to go from not rated to 9 is the biggest jump.
Right.
So that brush truck and those 5 members get you from that not rated to that 9 because there's a fire department that exists there.
Right.
That's like the criteria for a 9.
Pull together your training, pull together your records, maintenance, testing, inspections. You might, very rule, you might be able. Sorry, we need to throw a tanker in there. Okay, need a tanker, but you might be able to get to an 8.
Yeah.
Just getting your records together.
Yep. And it's an unbelievable step forward for your community.
Right. Yeah.
Measurable results instantaneously, right?
There's so many different avenues and aspects to increasing the level of service for your community. And then the one thing,
here's the other weird thing, and I'm going to butt in right here. So that chase for that ISO, for that higher rating, sure, it gets you a higher rating, but what does it ultimately get you? A better department,
right?
better service.
Yeah.
Because in order to get that higher rating, you're chasing better performance.
Because that's all the ISO evaluation is. It is evaluation of the level of service that you, or an evaluation of the level of service that you provide in your local community.
Right.
With benchmarks. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's good for you, period. And the other part of this is, and I don't know, I feel like I'm alone on this island. And it's partially because our county has certain, we'll call it luxuries.
Right.
Okay. But I started with a 0 subsidy from the county. We're at $120,000 a year. Okay. Do not get me wrong. There's a lot of other people that helped achieve that. But to sit there and completely discount that and not ask the questions of what did I do to get the subsidy increase from the county is absolutely asinine. And I can't believe I stumbled into an entity at a county that gets $250 a year or a month from their county.
That much, huh? I came from a county that got $500 a year. You know what that does?
Nothing. That's the answer.
It pays for the soap to wash the truck, but not the water.
Wow.
Yeah, that's literally what $500 a year does.
Learn
Because it was set that way in the 50s, and it's just never gone up.
right. Learn to make the argument. This is a personal soapbox that I'll stand on. You as chief get to be involved in politics. Period.
Hmm.
How did you get elected?
Politics.
Political. We just lost the battery.
Oh,
Well,
got another one?
no.
Well, we'll wrap up with the audio version because it's still going,
Okay.
and we'll say the video got cut short.
We'll see how many people even get to the end.
Yeah, that's also a thing.
So, I mean, it's a. I want to make sure real quick. We are recording audio, right?
Yeah, I'll go check. There's no reason not to check at this point.
Is the audio still good? I'm just saying things so he looks at sound bars in another room. Okay.
Yeah, we've got the audio, and the reality is we're an audio podcast. You've got that bad eerie eliminator that you bought that
Yeah,
you didn't bring, which would make that problem go away.
immediately. But yeah, I mean, I see way, way too many departments not making the political argument. That is one thing that I will stand on a soapbox on. We don't see enough people making the political argument. Um, and you have got to get out there and explain to your local leaders the value of being a volunteer organization. That you need to show them the costs that you're encountering.
Yeah.
And they need to understand that the amount of money that they're going to give you does not impact their overall budget.
The craziest thing, and I keep seeing these deals on Facebook where it's talking about the cost outfit a firefighter. And even the latest ones I've seen where somebody's gone in and doctored the numbers, they're still too low.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You've got a $5,000 set of PPE. Say you're pretty good at buying PPE, it's still $4,000, right? By the time you buy everything and you've got it all, you're $4,000. You've got an air pack. That air pack's $7,500, and then it's got a $1,300 bottle on it, and then you need another $1,300 spare bottle. So there's $10,000, a little over,
Thermal imagers 5,000,
right?
3 to 5.
So
Radios anywhere between 1,000 and 8,000.
so let's call that 5. So you've got 10 there, 10 in the air pack, 5 in the gear. That's 25. And then you're gonna dump another $5,000 to $10,000 of training into that person.
Minimum. Then you had the truck of the cost of the equipment.
Right. The hose, the nozzle. Nozzles cost like, it's nothing to spend $800 on a good nozzle.
Yep.
$800 for something that squirts water.
Right.
Just think about that for half a minute.
Extrication equipment.
Yeah. $15,000 per tool, basically.
Per tool. Let's say you go utility and just get one of those big airbags that's highly utility. That's 12 to 20. Now, insurance, maintenance, testing, inspections.
The testing and inspections is the first thing to go, man.
I know.
First thing that goes away.
I know. We were just recently brought it into our organization.
First thing to go away. It's insane. Like I can understand not, like, if you're gonna cut some testing, ground ladder. Ground ladders is a decent thing to
Well,
do.
I would argue hose testing because you can do your own testing.
You can do your own hose testing, but nobody will.
Right.
And they don't do it right.
Right. There is that too.
Because you can't put 4,000 feet of hose in a line and go for it, right? But ground ladders, because ground ladders isn't even a required test.
Yeah. Then you had the air pack testing, hydrostatic testing, SCBA refill testing. Then you get your extrication tool service and testing.
A lot of them
Cascade systems testing, annual and hydrostatic, plus your quarterly air checks.
Yeah, a lot of them will do the flow test and some of that stuff because that one's kind of important, right?
Aerial testing.
Yeah, but most don't have aerial.
They're becoming more prominent.
They are becoming more prominent, and we have departments in our general area that don't do their aerial testing.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's staggering. I don't know.
That's one that I would put like if you're gonna have that aerial, you better plan to be able to test it.
To me, that's what you go to the county for the subsidy slash reimbursement. Maintenance, inspection, testing. Okay. We'll call it service, the repair of the apparatus. And then if you're truly trying to be proactive, get a call it a PPE line item and call it a tools and equipment line item
Yeah.
so that you can get $2,000 to $5,000 a hose every year. So you can get 1 to 4 sets of PPE here, and then try and get them to bite off on some of the capital purchases. You don't necessarily have to buy a new truck.
Yeah. I'm actually shocked, and this is a conversation we had earlier, and I come from a place where we bought a lot of commercial cab trucks, right? And I'm truly shocked at what people are getting service life out of a commercial cab versus a custom cab.
Right.
It's actually staggering. Like if you're getting 10 years out of that commercial cab, you're doing pretty well. So at that point, the cost is offsetting, right? You just buy the better truck.
I So we've had a lot of different truck manufacturers. We've had Pierce. Okay. We've had custom cabs, Pierce, SBI, Quality,
KME.
KME, Rosenbauer.
Yeah.
Okay. I would legitimately argue all of those are very, very serviceable. Okay. Even the Rosenbauer, which is the one I don't like.
But the
But
chassis Spartan, so
right, it's a Spartan chassis. Now, commercial cabs, Freightliner and Kenworth.
international. No,
No international since I've been here.
I thought Tanker One was international.
Freightliner. So Tanker One
Still in service today.
still in service. Yeah, it's a little bit of a rattle trap, but that truck's over 20 years old. Now we took care of it. That's the kicker. We did the maintenance. We did the wear and tear. We did the babying. Yeah, it's got water stains galore. In fact, I'm pretty sure its water stains would act as a nuclear blast shield. But no, like that truck's held up well. Our light and air truck, it's a Freightliner. That thing's used heavy. It's done very, very well. Uh I legitimately think that there's a point here where you just become, quite frankly, too bougie, you know?
Yeah,
And
I'm looking at like the department I came from. Bought a couple of Peterbilt engines. Right out of the box, they're broken. Right? It's a nightmare keeping the stupid things working. And it's the truck part of it broken. It's not the Rosenbauer part of it that's broken. The engine, the truck, and it's weird, But you see lots of different things. But you see that in the custom world too.
you know, I don't know. I maybe we've just gotten lucky. I mean, the one truck that our entire department has a loathing hate for, there's nothing wrong with it. And hell, we tried to drown it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that truck. It's been very serviceable for, I think, 9 years now, maybe 10. I think it was delivered in 15.
Yeah,
So
10 years.
10, we'll call it 9 to be generous. Um, no, that truck's fine. I will say this. I think our maintenance is pretty good. We do keep up with testing and inspections. We spend a lot there, but maybe we just gotten lucky too. I don't know. There's a certain part of this where I just feel like that we're prognosticating,
Yep.
but
Well, we've lost our video.
lost our video. The audio's getting wrapped up.
Let's put a fork in the
Call it done.
3rd anniversary episode.
Okay. It's not the barn burner that we were anticipating 3 minutes before
So
we realized it was the third anniversary.
we're gonna do something stupid, right? The first person to shoot us an email at
ittasteslikeburningcast@gmail.com.
we'll make sure you get something.
That'll work.
We're gonna send you something in the mail.
So yeah, if you're brave and stupid enough to live this long and listen all the way through, telling you, shoot us an email.
Yep. All I need in the email is for you to tell us what happened in this episode, specifically with the camera.
Oh yeah, that's the good cue.
That's a good cue. And make sure you include your contact information and address
Yeah,
so we can send you something.
that'll work. With that, we've already told you how to reach out to us. You can find us on Patreon at It Tastes Like Burning Cast. You can always find us on YouTube at It Tastes Like Burning Cast. And if you're feeling particularly spicy, always give us the like, click, and subscribe. Ring the bell for the notification, because oddly enough, that's a benefit. This is Matt.
This is Jesse.
Have a good evening.